Okay, so search engine optimization. Okay, so it sounds like it's a computer programming thing, but it's really not. Okay, and it's also not just a matter of showing up high in a search engine. Okay, uh, the first step is figuring out who are the people that want the product or service that you've got, and what is their problem that they're trying to solve, that they're going to a search engine and typing in something looking for a solution. And to try to get in the head of the people that you're trying to help, like with the Peer Unschooling Network, so there's people we're trying to help. Who are these people? And what are they going into Google typing, searching that we want to be the result when we show up? Okay, so it's almost like a psychology or a marketing or something like that thing. Don't so much think about it as programming. The technical side comes in because Google has an algorithm that they use to figure out what sites show up in what order in the search engine once somebody types in the keywords. But from our perspective of trying to optimize the site, a big piece of it is figuring out, well, what are the things that we want to show up when people search for? Because you can't show up for everything. So you kind of have to pick the most important things. So it could be things like teen unschoolers, meet unschoolers, find unschoolers, connect with unschoolers. If we believe that people are typing into Google saying, where can I meet other unschoolers? Where can I find other unschoolers? Where do I meet teen unschoolers? What resources are there for teen unschoolers? Where can I meet? So we have to try to think of what they're going to be searching for us to then optimize to get there. Okay, so that's kind of one big side of it that people kind of underestimate is you got to really evaluate that, because all the other work that you do to optimize for those keywords is wasted if you pick the wrong words. You know, uh, like one big thing I've talked a lot about on the site is, should we be focusing on teens, or is that a bad thing? Like you notice I'm like really picky about what are the first words people say when they visit the site. What's it going to say? So that when they read it, they say, this is for me. This is solving my problem. Because it's also about solving a problem. Like kids might have a problem like, I'm lonely. I want to make friends. I'm isolated. Like those are problems that they're looking for a solution to. And that's what it's all about. It's all about solving somebody's problems, because they're not looking for products and services. They're looking for solutions. So hopefully, Peer Unschooling Network solves the problem for kids that are isolated in some way or lonely, that are unschoolers looking to meet other unschoolers. Or maybe it's some other social thing that it's serving, not necessarily being lonely, but think of it that way. Another problem that it solves, I think, and my hope is that if somebody's curious about unschooling and they say, hey, I want to go talk to one teen that does this, I want to meet somebody that does this and ask them a question and see what their life is like, I think it also solves that problem. That someone's like, hey, where can I talk to a teenager that's an unschooler so I know what it's all about because I'm curious? So I like to think that we solve that problem too. So step one is figuring out like what are the keywords that you want to be good for. And then the optimization side, you can really think of it in like three big things. Number one is, what is the written content that's on your site? Are those keywords that you're trying to optimize for, do they show up in the written content that's on the site? And specifically on the page that you're describing, because one thing people talk about is that pages show up in the search engine, not the whole website. So like our homepage for the Peer Unschooling Network, we would want to have it contain those keywords. And it's even better if those keywords show up higher up on the page. And if they're part of titles, it's a little bit better as opposed to just being part of the paragraph, right? So there's different things like that. But one aspect is the actual written content of the site. So that's part one. Part two are links that your site points to. So Google wants to find that your website is valuable as a resource for the problem that somebody has. So one way of looking at it is what's the written stuff, and the other is your website pointing to any useful links that people might find valuable. So Google will scan your page to look at the links that you're pointing to. So right now our homepage actually doesn't point to very many sites. Maybe I'll add a section at the very bottom that's like resources for parents. That might be a way to create a section that has a bunch of links that point to some really valuable sites, something like that, like something for parents, and then that, boom, that could help our ranking. And then the third one, which I think is probably the most valuable one, and this is what I'm working on, I just started on this last week, is links that point towards us. So they call that backlinking. And that's a huge thing that's really underestimated and undervalued, is having useful websites pointing to you, which verifies with Google, like, hey, this is a really valuable website because all these other websites point towards you. And obviously it's also useful if there's links pointing towards you, because somebody that's on one of those web pages can see the link and click it and come. So that's also a good thing. Having links on websites pointing to you is always good because people find you. But it also is a big thing in Google of having them rank you. So what I, yeah. So I mean, I'll get into more details about the actual Peer Unschooling Network site and the things that we're doing with it, but that's just kind of an example of like the three biggest things. Social media accounts too. They want to see that you got a social media account and that you're active and that there's people liking and sharing posts and that kind of thing. It's becoming more important. Something that's interesting is creating lots of social media accounts that all point to you also creates links and backlinks too. And another thing to think about is that there's different search engines. So I just mentioned Google for all of those things. Not really relevant to the Peer Unschooling Network, but like Amazon has their own search engine inside of Amazon. So Google gives you a list of things that are supposed to be the most relevant to what you searched for. Amazon, when you search, gives you the list of things that you're most likely to buy. And they have a different algorithm to decide what to present you. And the Amazon search engine is one of the most used search engines on the web. You might not think of it really, but it is. The number 2 most common search engine on the web is YouTube. So lots of people don't just start in Google searching, they actually are in YouTube searching. And YouTube, even though it's owned by Google, has a different algorithm for how it sorts out what results it displays you. And so search engine optimization can be applied to websites with Google. You could also have it being applied to videos that you post on YouTube. It could also apply to products that you list on Amazon. But notice that of all these things that I've said, very little of this has anything to do with computer programming. Everyone thinks it's a computer programmer's thing, but really it's kind of a marketing thing or a writer's thing. Like if you're a blogger, or if you're a writer and you write blog posts. So like what some websites will do is they'll have, you know, you get a search term like how do I meet teen unschoolers? So somebody on a website could have a specific blog post all about that. Now our whole website's kind of about that, but you know, it might be a good thing at the bottom of somewhere on the page to actually have a single blog post that talks about it, or to add like those keywords and everything. But I'm going more into detail than I need to. I think this is a cool overview. This is your 10-minute overview on search engine optimization. Again, notice I didn't show any programming, I didn't show any code, I just blabbed into a webcam. I hope that the quality of this comes out all right. I got a feeling it might be like really laggy, and I could have used like an iPhone and this would have streamed better, but yeah, I hope this is like a pretty good overview of what search engine optimization is all about. And as a thing, I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel for my JF web development site. I'm going to put a link in the description that points to the Peer Unschooling Network. So not only did I create something that teaches you something, but also I've got a backlink that's going to point to the Peer Unschooling Network. I could even not a ton of people find my web. I don't like use my web development YouTube channel to do a lot of promotion and stuff. I usually use it for stuff like this, just to share things with people. But I could write a description and I could try to like optimize this video to show up high if somebody's trying to learn about search engine optimization. And if I do that, then maybe they find it, they learn a little bit, and then they hire me to help them with SEO. So that's like another kind of approach to how this stuff all like works in like the big picture of a business. This is just fine just for this kind of thing I'm putting together for you here. Hope it's useful, Willow. And obviously, if you got any questions, just let me know.